I feel a bit nervous because I've worked in the environmental field, environmental movement in some way or other for 15 years or so. It's been part of my life. And I feel like I'm sort of going to say something sort of heretical that is not really the done thing to say at the moment. Before anyone gets too worried, I have to say, first of all, I do believe in climate change. I'm wearing the badge that says Scotland, 42% by 2020. So, yeah, I do believe in climate change. But I think the way in which people communicating about climate change, the way in which a whole range of people engaging in climate change and campaigning around climate change and engaging with politicians around climate change have got it wrong. They're going in the wrong direction. It's going to cause us real problems unless we get it right. I think we're definitely on the wrong track, and that's the one on the left. Keep on the left, that would probably make a difference. We're in this climate trance. I think we're like the whole way in which the communication around climate change is going at the moment. We've become fixated by it. We're like being sort of sucked into like a rabbit in the headlights of this thing called climate change. And I think we need to snap out of this before we get into worse trouble. Until about a few years ago, so many of the debates and discussions around in the environmental movement and the social justice movement, people who wanted to make the world a better place. It was about broadly under the area of sustainable development, a better life for more people, social justice, equity, fairness, living within a good life within environmental limits. But I thought I had to do a bit of sort of technology stuff here. This is a quick search I did on Google Trends. It's searching for the phrase climate change, which is the blue line. This is 2004 to 2009. So climate change is the search in the blue. The sort of reddy brown line is biodiversity, and then food security is the one underneath that. So you can see, I think it's not just me imagining that climate change is becoming more and more talked about, more and more part of the public sort of discourse. I think part of the reason for that is that NGOs and activists and others who are starting off trying to address climate change, have been working in sustainable development, trying to progress those ideas for many years. They've seen the science coming through about climate change. They've seen the IPCC stuff saying, actually, yes, this stuff is, the scientists saying, this is for real, there is evidence. And that's nice, hard, factual stuff. Yes, there are climate deniers and skeptics and so on, but there's some really good, hard science there. But the problem with sustainable development is you can have some nice definitions about it, but the problem is it's sort of a bit motherhood and apple pie. It's sort of woolly. So you can talk to politicians about it, yes, we should really do something about that, but I remember seeing a few years back a report from Scottish Enterprise about what they were doing about sustainable development. It was complete bollocks. Right. But stuff about how we're planting daffodils on roundabouts was about sustainable development. So, not surprisingly, I think a lot of people saying, how are we going to get this stuff done? Have then started saying, right, we need to talk about climate change. There's good, hard facts there. So that's happening. And the problem is that we've become seduced. And why that's a problem, I'll tell you later. And climate change has ended up, is now, because of the run-up to Copenhagen in, I don't know, there's so many websites you can get a countdown to how many days it is to Copenhagen, I can't actually remember. But people are so focused on this NGO campaigns, there's climate actions and petitions and all sorts of things you can do. And I've signed them all and all the rest of it. And on Twitter just the other day, came through, Obama is going to Copenhagen. And it's like, retweet, everyone's like, it's like, Obama's going to Copenhagen. The world will be saved. I don't really think so. don't get me wrong, climate change is a really major problem. And it's great it's on the agenda and politicians are paying attention. So if that's the case, why am I getting my knickers in a twist about this being a climate trance? Why is it a problem that we're really focusing on climate change? Climate change is a symptom, not the disease. It's the symptom, not the disease. Good, the image has come through okay, that's more important. This is the key message that's come out of a recent report from the Stockholm Resilience Centre at Stockholm University. What they've done is they've identified what they're calling nine planetary boundaries, biophysical systems, which are all required to be working well for life on Earth to be healthy. One of them is climate change, and there are 9. And they've also defined what they think, this is all estimates, but they've defined what they think is the safe planetary operating system. That's the bit in green. Climate change, we've overshot. Ocean acidification, we're getting quite close. Remember ozone? That was a problem a while back. We've still got some problems with ozone. Nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and so on. Biodiversity loss. And then there's also some ones, there's chemical pollution and atmospheric aerosol loading. They haven't actually got any data for that yet, so we don't know how bad that one is, but we can probably make some guesses. So that's why I'm saying climate change is just one part of this problem. If climate change is the symptom, the disease is the way in which humans are overusing the Earth's resources, overusing and abusing the Earth's resources. And the problem is, this is why I think the climate trance, the fact we're all focused on climate, is a problem and it's a trance rather than being a beneficial thing, is that the politicians and the public who are sort of subject to this media and this communication campaign are being told, if you fix climate change, we've fixed it. They're not being told, actually, we need to fix the overuse of resources, and that will help fix climate change and a whole range of other problems. I do worry what happens if we get to Copenhagen. People have put all their time and enthusiasm and energy into that, and it turns out we don't get a good deal. And everyone says, oh, well, what now? That's going to be another story, but I think if we were focusing on resources, the way we're overusing resources, that we could have a better and different strategy for addressing these problems. So, what to do? We need to snap out, first of all, of this climate trance. My experience is if you find that you're working on something and you keep on digging, you're digging yourself a hole, don't dig faster. Stop and try and get out of that hole. So the first thing to do is stop and think. And I think also, this is quite difficult perhaps for a lot of us to accept, myself included, is actually we don't actually know what the problem might, what the solution to this problem might be. But at least recognising you don't know is a really good start. Being comfortable with uncertainty, being comfortable with not knowing the answer to the problem is a really good thing, a really good place to find yourself. Now, I think all of us in this room, I'm probably not telling you anything new. We all know climate change isn't the only problem. And there's lots of ideas amongst us in this room and way beyond about a whole range of approaches and possible solutions and strategies and ways of working together to solve this bigger problem of addressing humans' overuse of resources, overconsumption, rather than us focusing on one aspect of the problem. So that's good news. And for me, I think that is, I spent some time working through this idea. and I was getting really quite depressed. But at one point, I suddenly felt it was like a huge weight had come off my shoulders. Actually, I didn't have to go around at meetings and stuff pretending that really, yes, it's all about climate change. I could say, actually, there's more to it than that. I could say it in public, and actually, that was hugely liberating. What was even more liberating, it was this liberation that, in terms of working with clients and working in, giving presentations and things, being able to feel comfortable to say, the problem, the solution to the problem is not just business as usual, but with less CO2. It's actually much bigger than that. It's actually getting back to the business of saying, how do we create a safe, fair, and sustainable world for all of us? Thank you.